hope you can hear me over the tire hum here, but it's 7 o'clock on Tuesday, October 6th. Very smoky outside still from all these fires, but we are getting the technical service bulletin applied to the Jeep today that addresses the hard pull that the 18 to 20 JLs and the early JT Gladiators have. So we're cruising along on the interstate right now, and you're probably not going to be able to see that. There isn't anybody directly behind me or anybody directly next to me. So you have to constantly hold the wheel in this Jeep, and it's done it since the day I bought it and brought it home. And basically, if you take your hand, well, let's see here. There's a little bit of a reverse road crown here, which I was going to talk about in a second, but here's a little bit more normal. So if you take your hand off the wheel, it'll start taking off to the right. Yeah, we're on still a little bit of reverse road crown. So usually your roads slope from left to right, and obviously that's going to create some pull anyway. But when you get on a stretch of pavement that has a reverse road crown, you can take your hand off the wheel and the Jeep will track straight down the road. So this thing's had that hard right pull since the day I bought it, and I emailed the dealership now that I finally found the technical service bulletin, and they said, yeah, bring it on up, we'll get the parts ordered and get that steering box replaced. So we're actually on a little bit of a part of the interstate right now that's really flat and has that reverse crown to it. So I'm gonna wait until we get back to a part where it doesn't, because when I take my hand off the wheel, the Jeep will do a lane change. It's that dramatic. So let me get back. Actually, let me pass this car first, and then we'll get back to a part here where there's the proper pull on the steering wheel. All right. Well, I got into a bit of traffic, so it wasn't a good time to do that experiment. But watch my steering wheel inputs here as well. I'll show you how much of a play in the steering that this Jeep has. This is just me trying to hold the thing straight going down I-25, which this is actually a concrete portion of 25. It's really smooth here just south of Wyoming in northern Colorado, but these are just normal steering wheel inputs with no wind to keep this thing straight on the road. So it gets extremely fatiguing very quick to drive this thing long distances. That trip to Moab in May was just tiring, but all right, this might be a good spot to demonstrate this. So if I let go of the wheel, look at how quickly we jut off to the side of the road. Hopefully you saw that. There's a trailer or somebody on the shoulder up here, but when you take your hand off the wheel, this thing takes off like it's going to make a lane change, and that gets absolutely ridiculous very quickly when you're on a long road trip. Here, I'm not even touching the steering wheel, and we just made a lane change. So hopefully that's coming out. The sun literally is just coming up, so the GoPro's kind of fighting with the cab lighting versus road lighting. But one more time here, we'll take your hand off the wheel, and in a matter of seconds, this thing's taken off to the right. I don't want to do that too many times so the people behind me don't think I'm like a nighttime drunk or something. So anyway, that's what we're going to get fixed today, and I'll show you the next time I come to a stop how much of a crazy dead zone's actually in the steering wheel when the Jeep's in a stop-start condition, because you can really see it. But none of my other Jeeps had a pull like that, so that's what we're going to fix today. All right, now that a little bit more time's passed and we're actually in Wyoming, it's still relatively calm outside. I'm not seeing much wind, but I am making a little bit of a curve here. But as soon as it straightens out, you'll see. I'll do one more example here. All right, so now we're on the straightaway again, and I'll take my hand off the wheel and look at how, hopefully you can actually see how ridiculously fast, if the image stabilization is not taken over, how ridiculous that is that does that. So We'll give you some just normal steering wheel inputs here, just to hold this thing straight. Needless to say, my pickup truck is not that bad. Nor were the other Jeeps, so all right, I think you get the point. I'm gonna listen to the music until we get to the dealership. Wheatland, Wyoming. All right, it doesn't look like anybody's followed me off the interstate, so I was going to, yeah, there's nobody behind me, so there is a car coming, so this is a good excuse. So there's an auto stop. So here's the dead zone in the steering wheel. So that'll be my baseline to see how much tighter this new steering box is. Got the Jeep back, 2 hours and 30 minutes, right on the money. Of course, now it is windy Wyoming, so this is not going to be a fair comparison for the drive back, but I can absolutely say without a doubt that the major dead zone from 11 to 1 o'clock in the steering wheel is gone. So I am fairly certain with how much absolutely tighter and more responsive the steering wheel is that this was very much worth it. But there looks to be about a 20-mile-an-hour side wind right now, if you can see that American flag blowing. So I'll be fighting the Jeep all the way home and won't be able to probably conclude this video, at least right now. So we'll see if the wind calms down further south, but I think it was supposed to be a pretty windy day all day today, but we'll see how much steering wheel input I have to give this thing. Yeah, I think we finally got to a point here where it's not so ridiculously windy, because watch this. We're not shooting over like we're making a lane change. Now, I did have to grab the steering wheel when I crossed that bridge, but there's one vehicle passing me. I don't want to take my finger off the wheel until he goes by. And of course, then we have a corner. The Jeep tracks straight down the road. Unbelievable that a steering gearbox was causing all. I guess it is believable. One more real good straightaway here as we come into Cheyenne. Let me get this straightened back out here. There we go. Hands off the wheel. Nah, I'm tracking a little left. I still got a tiny bit of side wind, but oh man, no hands. Back in Colorado where the traffic sucks and the drivers are idiots. No hand on the steering wheel. You need to get this TSB applied to your vehicle. That's amazing. All right, we're finally coming up to a stoplight here after driving back from Wyoming. So we'll do a stop-start event here. So there we go. Now, here's the new dead zone of the steering wheel. That's it. There's bump to bump. So that's where I can feel the resistance. Before, there was about 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock dead zone. Now it's moving just that tiny little bit. So I think we can go ahead and close this one out while I'm sitting here at the stoplight. If you have an 18 or 19 or 20 JL with the aluminum steering box, or even one of the early Gladiators like the 19s and early 20 Gladiators, you need to have this technical service bulletin done and get your steering gearbox replaced and have them update whatever that software update does as well, because it 100% improves the handling of this vehicle and actually makes it tolerable to drive. Even in a crazy 20-mile-an-hour side wind through Wyoming, I had to put less steering wheel input into the wheel in the wind than I did at 6:30 this morning with calm conditions. That's how notable that is. So anyway, hope this helps you out if you have an early Wrangler or early Gladiator with just crazy steering. Go get this done. Anyway, have a good one. Catch you next time.